Hello, hello, hello! It is another episode of Club 20 Confidential. I'm your host, Amanda Sue Penchlock, and tonight I am joined by someone I respect and love so very much. Really, really, really iconic Columbus entertainer. Please, Club 20, make some noise for the incredible Maria Garrison! Jazz hands, me and she. Now, the first thing I actually want to talk to you about is you were upstairs describing performing here back in the day.
Oh my god, yeah, the dressing room used to be here.
So we're actually filming in front of the
they kind of like roped this off and that's where we were back there.
What kind of shows did you do here?
Just like little drag shows, maybe a little strip show or two. You know, I was known for the strippers back in the day. I didn't really work with queens.
No.
I worked with the boys.
Well, we'll get into that a little bit, but before we do all of that, everyone please raise your glass. We're gonna do a special toast for Maria Garrison. Do you know any of the dirty toasts? Do you want to do one? If not, I've got a billion.
Here's to the whore from Peru who filled her pussy with glue. She said with a grin, you paid to get in, you can pay to get out too. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. I love that one. Those really are a drag queen standby, aren't they? I think about like Hurricane Summers and all of the times I've heard of it.
No. I had it after.
You said you wanted something sweet. They got you sour. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, first off, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Oh, hello.
I feel like I could breathe again.
It's like you had a COVID test. Woo! So the first thing I want to ask you about is what was it like growing up before Maria Garrison exists? What's it like? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from outside of Columbus, actually, a little town called Buckeye Lake.
Okay.
I went to high school, graduated. I was an Eagle Scout.
An Eagle Scout?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so what was your best badge?
My swimming badge, because I took swimming very seriously, like life saving and all that, so I would say my life saving badge.
So do you still swim today?
Sometimes, not a lot though. When I was a kid I loved to swim, but now as an adult I'm like, ooh, water. Like it just seems complicated. I'm like,
you're like, I don't want that, that's too much.
But when I was a kid I couldn't get out of the water. I love the water.
I love that. So were you like one of those like mermaidy kind of kids?
Well, we grew up on the lake, so our house was on the lake, so the front yard was a lake, so we were on the lake all the time.
So I love that kind of like, I'm one of those like hikey kind of gays and stuff now. Were you one of those outdoorsy, like doing stuff, catching tadpoles and all that shit?
Yes, we had our house set on 5 acres, although my parents had 25 acres, but our house itself set on 5 acres. We had like a big wooded area, so we always played in the woods as kids.
And you had like brothers and sisters and like...
I have 7 brothers and sisters.
Oh my god, Maria, what was that like?
It was amazing. I don't know, people always say, oh, I don't have any like brothers or sisters, or they just have 1 or maybe 2, and I'm like, I have 7, I don't know.
Well,
like, I don't know, I just only
know
like big family. I don't know how it would, I'm like, oh, sorry.
So my mother used to like make food for like an army for just like the 4 of us. How much food did y'all go through?
We went through a lot, but my mom was also the type of person that she did lunches for everybody. So if our friends were over, she made us all little lunches and like made cookies and made for us. You know, she was just that type of mom. She always made sure if we were there, everybody had a lunch instead of just us. Even though we didn't have a pot this and we would throw it out, but my mom always made sure that, you know, she always said food was cheap and she liked to feed everybody. So.
Now, does any of that like apply to you today? Are you that kind of person? Are you always like?
I would say in my drag and stuff like that, I am. I like to help people, and I like to do their hair backstage, and I'm usually the one like with all the pins and safety pinning people and fixing their hair and making sure they look good before they go out. I like that kind of stuff.
You are.
People always say it's the performance that's the best, and for me, being backstage with my sisters and just having fun and laughing and telling stories and doing our hair and stuff like that. That's what I love.
And that's why I'm so happy that you're here, is we're going to be able to tell some of those stories and do some of that. But I'm still so curious. So, like, you're this young person growing up and you're in Buckeye Lake. Like, what got you to being a drag queen in Columbus, Ohio? Like, what was that jump like? You go to high school, you start going out to gay. Is there a gay bar in Buckeye Lake? When did this come into your orbit? That's what I want to know.
No, there was a little bar in Newark, actually. It was called the Rose Room, I believe. It was a long time ago. I mean, back when I was 16, I was starting to go into the bars because I got my license obviously when I was young. And I started going to the bars sneaking at night and driving to Columbus when my mom didn't know. And I would actually get the gay scene from actually outside the bar because I was obviously too young to be in the bar. But I knew that obviously I was different and I wanted to be around people like me because I grew up in a small town and there wasn't any gay people. So there wasn't anybody like me.
So you're just going to like gay areas, like gay
I just was going to gay areas or where gay people were, just so I could see like people that were like me. So I was like, okay, now I know that I grew up in a straight town. There was no gay people. So now I can finally be who I wanted to be because there was other people like me. I knew that there was other people just like me that wanted me to be myself, and it was great to be myself, even though I was way too young to be there. But it was just good to be around people that made me feel like I wasn't an outsider.
But like, what area was that has all the gay people? Because like I know now it's like the parks for
Well, see, back in the day, Long Street used to be the place. Like where the Long Street Live was the garage, and then the Eagle set. Kind of everything was kind of very much in walking distance. It was so much better back in the day. Like it was so easy to get to everything. It was safe. There was there wasn't a lot of like bashing or worrying about getting jumped or robbed or anything like that. So
it was just a chill. It was a good time.
Very chill, good time back then.
Well, it's because the weed was better.
Well, I honestly did not do anything like that back in the day. I didn't smoke weed, I didn't do drugs, believe it or not. Anybody that's ever known me know that I did not do any of that. The only thing I did was drink. Now, and I did that heavily. Professionally. But other than that, I did not do any drugs, no coke, no crack. I've never done anything like that.
Girl, I'm never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
Now, there's been other people that associated with me that did all that stuff. But I can say on record, Maria Garrison have never done a stitch of drugs. The only drugs I've ever done is marijuana, which I'm very high right now.
It's on the record. It's legal. It's on the record.
Yes, it's on the record. Yes, that is true. But on the record, I have never, ever, and never want to do any kind of drug. It's just not my thing. Whoever wants to do it, more power to them.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't jump in anybody's bubble or tell them what to do. I personally just don't do it.
No, and I there's so many stories and things I want to say, but I'm going to try to not get this podcast canceled. So
if it involves me.
No. That's
okay.
No. One of the people is.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm really curious. What kind of car were you driving when you were coming down here?
Oh my God, are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
I had a Smurf blue Gremlin with 2 white racing stripes. And what was so fabulous about the Smurf blue Gremlin is my dad paid $50 for it, ran like a top, because my dad was a carpenter / mechanic on the site because he loved to work with his hands. He liked woodwork, he built the house we grew up in, he just was that type of guy. So he liked to work on cars, so he said, okay, we'll just get this car. It didn't have any bumpers. It didn't have a front bumper or a back bumper. It didn't have an ignition because somebody had tried to steal it and screwed it all up. So it didn't have a key. So I actually back in high school had a push start on my car. I put the key in, turned it, and pushed the button and it started. That's how my car. So it was a Smurf blue Gremlin with 2 wooden bumpers because in the state of Ohio, obviously you had to have bumpers. So my dad just put like 2x6s and bolted them in. Those were my bumpers on my car. And that fucking car ran like a top. And my friends would always move it, and I'd be in class at school, and they'd be like, Mr. Marlowe, can you come to the office, please? And I'm like, I get up there, and my car is like parked up by the flagpole. And they're like, can you explain this? I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm in class, so it wasn't me. Like, they would always get my car and move it like weird places, like in the middle of the football field or out in the middle of where they run the mile. I mean, they just used to park it all kinds of
because they could just start it.
So we just started it, yeah.
That's so cool.
Thank God I didn't. The thieves up here in Columbus weren't that smart back then. Because they totally could have just, who would have stolen it?
No.
They gave it right back.
They'd be like, what is
It
this?
literally cost my dad $50.
That's so much. So, did it have a sound system? Did it have speakers? What did it have?
It had. Oh shit, I broke it. Hello. 911. Why do you get the good microphone? They give me the fucked up one.
I got it working.
Okay. I feel like I can hear myself now.
Okay, no, perfect. Keep that.
Now, what was the question you asked? I'm sorry.
Okay, so the question was like, what's the sound system like in this blues for
Oh
Berlin?
my god. Well, it had obviously the factory radio in it, which was like the little dial, and it had like the little thing that went across. It said 97, and it kind of went opposite.
Yeah.
And then it had a wire, and in the back it had like a regular house speaker that was like kind of bolted to the side of the fender. And that was my radio. And back in the day, when you play your cassette tapes, that's all you needed, right? You just needed to hear it.
What is an exhibit gone wrong?
I told you, I drove a hoopty. I was poor.
So crazy.
But it was so much fun.
So I was gonna ask, like, what kind of music were you listening to? What were the jams?
Oh my god, I listened to Wham, obviously, because George Michael. I just had the biggest crush on him. And obviously, I just knew he was gay too. Whitney, I loved Whitney back in the day. So Whitney really was like my favorite, so I listened to her all the time. Her, Celine,
And those like your like where? So I'm always curious, like where we got like the Janet Jackson and like the.
I never was a Janet Jackson fan.
Okay.
I love her. I think I admire her. I think she's
Paula.
absolutely beautiful. She's gorgeous. She sings great. She's great. But I always thought people overdid those kinds of people, so I always did things that people didn't do because I always wanted to try, in a world where, everybody does everybody's stuff, to try to be somewhat creative and not copy everybody else, because when a new song came out, I typically would be the last one to do it because everybody and their brother when that comes out did it, and I just thought that was just stupid, but that's just me.
I one time did a bachelorette party, and the women there were like, can you do WAP? And I was like, I don't know the words to that. And they were like, really? And I was like, no, literally, like when it came out, I was like, well, I'm gonna not try to, everyone's gonna do this. Now, goddamn, what's the point? You know what I mean? It's not, it's not for me. But it's.
Well, I mean, is that racially appropriate now for us to do?
No, like, you know what I mean? Like nowadays, it's like, that's not for me.
See,
but
back
like,
in the day, I would have just done it because I would have loved it, not because it was a black or white thing. It's just, I do music because I like it, not because, somebody white sings it or somebody black. And if I like it, it's what I feel. Like, you know what I mean? So the music that moves me is what I do typically.
Yeah, very much so. Like I definitely do like Queens of Color, definitely still in my sets.
That's all I do.
Well, okay, so you're growing up, you're coming out to Columbus and stuff. Who were some of the drag icons when you first started coming out that you started seeing?
Well, when I first started coming to Columbus, obviously Jasmine Knight was very popular back in the day because she was just amazing, and so I kind of like loved her, and she was kind of my idol back in the day. Her and Sonya, and Amanda Kane, and Ashley West.
No, wait, you're speaking my language.
Right,
You're
I
speaking my
love
language.
those girls. And I wasn't really. I guess I should say this on the record, but here we go. I guess I really wasn't really fond, either liked or disliked Dara back in the day. She's just not my cup of tea. But I didn't really hate her or anything. She never did anything to me. We never really kind of.
But we will get to some of those girls in a minute.
She wasn't my cup of tea back in the day.
Well, so let's go through some of the girls, because you just gave Jasmine some flowers. Like Amanda Kane, talk about, she was like.
She's actually my drag mother.
What?
Amanda Kane, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
She was like the beauty.
This is what I thought back in the day. Amanda Kane was my drag mother. However, I felt like Joey Winters really was the one that kind of inspired me to do stuff, encouraged me, believed in me, lent me, when I didn't have something, she would lend me her clothes, and she's amazing. So I would say that Joey kind of really inspired me to do pageants and stuff, but then technically Amanda is my drag mother. Yeah.
And Amanda is she's one of those people who, like when you see her just do her act, it's just so inspiring because she's just someone who's like, when I encountered her, she was someone who I would see out all the time, and I just never got to see her perform. And then the first time I did a show with her, I was like, oh my god, I get it, because she's so funny, she's just so captivating, she's so fucking, she's a fucking woman, she's so pretty. So I remember when I first started using the name Amanda, she was like, now you do know that I am the Amanda of Ohio. And I was like, oh, I have learned. And funny enough, I worked with Ashley West, and I still do work with Ashley West at Old Street and stuff.
Oh my god, I work with her all the time. I love Ashley.
Now, I want to know, because I want to have her here one time. When she was spinning that hair, how is it the velocity gone up or down over time? It's the same, right?
It's insane. I just don't know how she flips her head around like that and doesn't give herself a concussion.
It's insane.
I'm like, no, I've done some shit, but I've never given myself a concussion.
And she just does it so naturally.
She does that, like, and it's like nothing, and she comes out like, yeah, I'd be dizzy and probably falling down, you know.
Now, were you going out to like celebrity and stuff?
You know, I actually didn't go out to celebrity until I was already of age.
Okay.
But I always had heard of it. And then when I started going there, I just kind of went to see April and all the girls and kind of was backstage helping everybody. And then I kind of got inspired to be Miss Celebrity. So I competed for it and I won.
We're going to get to your titles in a second.
Yeah, I won that back in the day. Dawn and Dwight, they were interesting individuals.
Now, do you want to talk about some of that? Because I think it's lost. First off, I just want to clarify to anyone who doesn't know, when we say April, we're talking about the legendary April Rain.
Oh my God, yeah, April Rain. No, April Rain is amazing.
But like back in the day, to be on Cast Celebrity meant something very different than what it means to me on Cast today. The expectations and first off, the work to be on Cast back in the day.
Well, I mean, you couldn't do any ballads, you had to do a fast song, but you also had to do a crown song. So your crowning number had to be in like some kind of faster ballad type song.
Well, and there were types of girls. Like there was
the dancing girl,
the Cynthia Demeanor type, the comedy, yeah.
There was a wide variety of girls at Celebrity. It was a lot of fun.
So also though, like they were savage. They would come up and say like, "We hate this costume, never wear it again." And the expectation was that.
Are you talking about Dawn and Dwight?
Yeah.
Dwight was a fucking asshole. I said that on record. He's a fucking asshole. Now Dawn actually, I think, was misread. Because Dawn was actually a big sweetheart and very giving, but he put up a very bitchy, very business type front, but he really was a sweetheart. I mean, but he didn't like people to see that he was a very nice person. He just like, he still was like a bitch, you know. Almost, but he wanted to be really nice deep down, but he just didn't want anybody else to see him being nice, type thing.
No, Miss Hill was the DJ back then, right?
Oh yeah, Miss Hill, yeah.
Isn't that wild? She's still spinning.
She sure is.
Isn't that crazy?
Is she at MJ's, right?
She was there, and then she went to Stage Door, and now she's at this bar called Daddy's.
Ooh,
she's at a bar called Daddy's.
Ooh, that sounds
she does all kinds of stuff at Daddy's. But she was my first DJ when I started working in Dayton. She was the first person, and you can speak to this because you've worked all over and over. A DJ's job in a bar with a show, particularly, they can make or break you, because if they keep it going, they keep it tight, they keep it funny, they keep it.
They can, yeah. But I mean, I really feel like back in the day, drag, it really went well at the helm with one person running it.
Yes.
So when there are too many people in the pot, it tends to get chaotic, and that's where Dawn and Dwight had their downfall. They couldn't let their manager manage their shit. They had to get themselves involved, and you can't wear that. Dwight was just a fucking asshole. I mean, he would come down screaming, cuss at the girls, and see, he didn't scream and yell at me.
He would have.
No, because he would have got cussed out.
He knew.
He knew better. So, and I told him, I'm like, girl, don't get it twisted, because you can get cussed the fuck out too.
Now, before we get into your thing, do you have a good cuss the fuck out story that you'd like to tell before we get into? Do you have a?
Oh God, there's so many.
Before we get into your pageantry.
Wait, do you want it to be funny or kind of funny and more serious, but funny?
Audience funny or more funny and serious?
Funny and serious.
Funny and serious.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
We were at Miss Ohio. Me and Andrea were emceeing together. And Andrea liked to set me up because I was, a little unfiltered, if you say, back in the day. Because I just really said whatever was on my mind. I didn't care what people thought. I didn't care if I hurt anybody's feelings. And and I'm obviously a different person today, but back then I was just very, as a matter of fact, type. Right?
Yeah.
So she knew that setting me up would get Ashley cussed out. Right? So Okay, so we're up on stage, and and this is like new to me. Like I'm seeing Miss Ohio, because I was still new to doing it, and I really, Andrea was obviously awesome at it. So yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. Yeah, and so I was learning from her, and what had happened is that she wrote down, and she purposely left Ashley's name off the list. And even though Ashley was standing on stage, but I was just so nervous. I'm like I read from the list, and it didn't have her on it. So I'm like, oh, and Ashley Simone, like, and I felt like it was like so ass backwards, right? So Andrea set it up, right?
God.
So we get off stage, and she comes, and I'm like not thinking anything of it because I obviously didn't do anything
malicious.
Yes, malicious, better word. Yes, I didn't do anything malicious, so I didn't think anything of it. I just went on about my business, and Ashley came up to me, and she grabbed me. Well, if anybody knows me, you do not grab me. Because if you grab me, that means we are fighting.
Oh, God!
So, and she grabbed me, and I turned around, and I shut down. Now, I don't know, you all don't probably know Ashley Simone, but this is a big bitch. I mean, she's like 6'4", out of heels.
Oh, my God.
And here I am, 5'8". And, well, obviously when I was younger, I was a lot smaller and a little tinier, and I was a tiny little thing, and this is a big bitch, right? So I was like, oh God, I'm gonna get my ass kicked, right? 'Cause this bitch is big, right? So I'm like, this was in front of the whole entire audience, like, and they're all like looking straight, because this happened, I don't know if anybody's been to Access, you got the stage that's here, you got the steps over here, and then they have like a pole, and then and then that's where I was standing, right by that pole, and the whole entire audience, like it was a packed house.
We'll insert a graphic right here.
Right. Okay. Okay, so it's packed house, and so she comes up to me, she says, I know you and that bitch in there trying to do this shit, and I turned around, and of course, I had to look up at Ashley because that's how big she is. I'm like, and at that point, I don't really remember what I said. I just know that everybody was laughing at her.
Oh.
They weren't laughing at me, and I guess I said some choice words that I probably should have said, but I didn't care.
You got her together.
I did. I cussed her out really good, and she deserved that. And that's where everybody gets this from, where like I flipped my arm because I was like doing this to her because I was so mad. But anyway.
So that is a hilarious story about you kind of fucking up pageantry. Like,
oh my God. I love pageantry.
Well, you're incredible. So your first title, do you know what it's listed as?
What? Miss Strap on Your Pumps is my very first title.
Oh, they don't have that.
Yeah.
I have you. Well, maybe the years are
You
wrong.
probably don't have a lot of stuff on there.
It says in 1998 you won Miss Glass City.
Yes.
Was that before or after Miss Strap on Your Pumps?
Miss Glass City, Miss Ohio Glass City.
Yes, Miss Glass City. And then you won Miss Gay Columbus America, and you won Miss Gay Ohio USA in the same year.
Yes.
1998. You were very busy.
I was a busy girl back in the day, and that's when I very first come on to I had been performing in Columbus for a couple of years, but that was like my first professional, like, I felt like I was like doing it for real. So that's the very first time. Miss Ohio USA was the very first time, and I won my first time. So
yeah. So who was your first alternate?
Samantha Rollins.
Oh my God!
Yeah, she was my first runner-up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. I mean,
and she was amazing. I actually thought. I mean, if anybody has watched the videotape, you can tell that I honestly did not know I had won. I thought I had lost because during my talent, I had literally, my head was throbbing. I had literally, my hair was this thick. And of course now I'm a thicker girl, but back in the day I was like 100 pounds soaking wet. And I had this huge fucking hair. It was like twice the size of me, and my head was throbbing, and I literally blacked out in the middle of my talent. Like, I literally, 15 seconds, I'm just standing there looking like, if you look at the videotape, you're like, what the fuck is this bitch doing? But I literally stood there.
What did you perform?
I did Ritual of Love into Tribal Dance. And I did Tribal Dance, and I had backup dancers, and it was actually kind of fabulous, but I literally blacked out. But judges, I see prelim night, I had won every category, but final night, I didn't win any categories. But they had said, because I had done such a great job on prelim night, they gave me second in talent because they knew that it was just my nerves, and they all obviously knew that I was a first-year girl. Like I just started doing pageants. I had never done it before. And they told me that they thought I was kind of incredible for my first, being so new and being so good at my age, I guess. I guess it was a good thing. So, yes, I honestly I had no clue. I didn't win any categories that year. The girl that was third runner-up the year before at Miss USA was in the pageant. Dominique Chappelle was third runner-up that year, and she was second runner-up, and she went down and interview, and everybody's like tagging it, and the funny thing is that I'll make it quick. I know it's got to be quick. Right before we went backstage, Jacqueline Devereaux had told me, she goes, they're gonna love you at nationals. And like, I'm nervous, I'm like thinking I lost, and I'm like tearing up. Like, anybody talks to me, I was like complete hot mess, because just the journey getting to Messiah was a very long road, right?
Emotional.
And so I was just a hot mess, and so I thought to myself, I'm like, what is she talking about? So, and it didn't dawn on me until after I had won what she was talking about, because and then I thought they were giving out awards, and I didn't win any categories, and I'm like, but I thought she said that I was going to nationals, and I'm like, okay. So they announced Dominique Chappelle, second runner-up, and everybody was like, holy shit, this girl just won 2 categories, and she didn't win, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then they called, obviously Samantha had won talent, and then they called her first runner-up. So I had thought that somebody else had won. I'm looking around I'm like, damn, I just got fucking sucker punched right in the face, right?
Yeah.
And then they called my name, and I literally, it was like, I don't know, it was like, everything went dark. I couldn't hear nothing. It literally was just a rush of emotions. I guess I don't know, I fell on my knees, and I couldn't hold it. I was just crying. I literally had pictures as Miss Ohio, as my first pictures, sobbing, because I literally cried for like 45 minutes after I had won.
Now, is that the most emotional pageant when you go to
I think it was the most emotional pageant, because I felt like the road getting there, everybody I felt was trying to sabotage me. And because I felt like it was because they knew that I was good, and I felt like back in the day the queens were very shady and they didn't want you to succeed, and I truly felt with my heart of hearts that I won Miss Ohio strictly because Karma got everybody else back, and I ended up winning because Karma got them all, and I ended up being the last one standing, because I actually was a good queen back in the day. I wasn't shady to people. I tried to lend my stuff to people. I tried to help them out. I tried to always help people. That's just who I am as a person. But I think a lot of people seen the facade, the insecure, boy. I was like a very insecure guy, but Maria was everything that Gary was not. You know what I mean? So I was more confident. I was, people liked me. They loved me. They adored me as Maria. And I guess I didn't see that they loved Gary too. I guess I just got so wrapped up in Maria that I forgot about Gary.
No, that happens. That still happens today. I know I have those feelings and emotions and stuff. But like, what were some of the things that because like you're talking about like the old school goopings and stuff. What were some of those that you saw firsthand? Did anybody get you? No one got you. No one
got me. Well, I mean, there were some people that tried to sabotage me, like on the way to Miss Ohio. That's why, and I don't want to name any names because these people we've since made up, and we moved on. But there's people that, like when I got my talent costumes from a certain designer, I didn't get my talent costumes till an hour before I was to go on stage for final night.
It's crazy.
So, and but my dresser, my best friend, Olivia Pantene, we always had a backup plan. So when they didn't give me my costumes, I said, oh, that's okay, because I have some here. I already did those.
Now,
And then my gown, so the gown, they did the same thing. The same designer was supposed to make my gown for final night, and he didn't give me my gown until 15 minutes before I had to go on stage. And it was just not what I ordered. I couldn't wear it. I would not have won in that. So I went to in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and obviously rented a gown from Ginger Manchester. I rented her Stephen Urich that she had wore at Miss USA the year before in one gown. So when I pulled that out, the whole entire room jaws dropped like she cracked. Jaws cracked. Because they thought that I had to wear this gown because it was the only one I had.
yeah.
And when I pulled that out, I think they were all plucked, and I ended up being second in gown. And I was second in everything. I was second in interview, second in talent, I was second in talent, and that's how I won.
I did the same thing when I won Miss Ohio America. Girl, it's all about consistency.
Consistency, it wins every time.
Ginger Manchester, she's one of those people who so incredibly kind, so incredibly talk about giving.
Ginger was, and she couldn't speak to save her life. She had that horrible list, and she called me Marie because she didn't even call me. She couldn't call me Maria. I don't know because of her speech impediment. She couldn't say Maria, so she said Marie.
So
that's how she would say it.
I can one up you on that. She knew who I was. She donated to my Miss Ohio America fundraiser. She was the sweetest.
Mm-hmm.
But one time, one of the last things I
And she'll fuck your name up on purpose.
Oh girl, the last time I saw her, she came up to me and said, "You look great, Woda." She thought I was Rhoda. She thought I was Rhoda. She went up to me and said, "You look great, Woda." And I was like, "What, Woda? No!"
Oh my God. You know who she used to do that to? It's Virginia. We were at Miss USA one year, and every time she would talk to Virginia, she would call Virginia a different name.
Oh my God.
She'd say, "Well, you know, Valerie." Yeah, and then she'd go on this whole thing. She said, "But you know, Veronica, back in the day," and she'd call her Vivian. That's why I call her Vivian, is because that's Virginia. Ginger called her Vivian. I was dead. I was like, "Okay, Ginger, her name is fucking Virginia, you stupid bitch." I'm like, I kept telling her, I'm like, her name is fucking Virginia. Why do you keep calling her? She called her Victoria. She says Victoria. I'm like, no, her name is fucking Virginia, you dumb bitch. I'm like, I would just tell her, I'm like, are you fucking dumb? I'm like,
well, since you brought up,
it's like a, how do they say it? It's like they feel they're better than you, so they just, whatever name you are, that type of thing. That's how I got. That's why I sort of, me and Ginger has had it out several times, but she was the sweetest person.
she was sweet.
She was a sweetheart.
We did do a 360 on that though. We did go for saying she's the sweet.
She was, but I had to get her together a couple times, is what I meant. Like, because back in the day, again, I did not give a fuck who you were. If you said something to me and I didn't like it, I gave you my opinion.
Well, okay, so
I guess I still do.
You still do.
I still do.
So you brought up your daughter. You are obviously the mother to what many people consider the mother of Columbus, Ohio. So can you give it the lineage of like your drag family? Like how many children do you have?
Oh my God, I don't know how many kids I have. And the truth be told, Virginia is actually my granddaughter.
Oh.
Because she's actually Blossom's daughter.
And I just recently lost Blossom.
Yeah, we just recently lost Blossom to suicide. But okay, that's hard. Yeah.
No, check on your
360. Okay, so yeah.
But anyway, so Virginia.
Blossom is actually Virginia's drag mother. However, Blossom never had her shit together back in the day. So I was kind of like the surrogate mother to Virginia. I would always be the one to help her out with her hair and help her, lend her costumes. And, she did the same to me as well. Because, Virginia's done many of my talents that I've won with, actually. Both of my talents that I did for How Gay Pride, I got perfect scores in talent, and Virginia did both of those.
I have seen...
Or no, Tyler did my one for Final Night, but it was Virginia inspired. It was her music.
Yes.
But I just used her music and kind of twisted it around to kind of fit, for me. But I did her kind of talent theme, both nights was Virginia's
Well,
happy hour.
and the adoration she has for you is real. I've seen her get costumes that she has lent you and then be like, I can't even, like, that is your costume now. You have to have that, mother.
Yeah, Virginia she's a very giving person. She really is.
Well, and you're a giver. You, like, it's, okay, so we've talked about, like, your pattern training. You said that your dresser was Olivia Pantene.
Yes.
And Olivia Pantene is honored every year at Miss Gay Ohio America as for like the person who's giving the most to the community and dressing and helping and stuff. Are you an Olivia Pantene award winner?
I am. I was actually the first recipient of the
Were you really?
Yep.
Oh my
It was 'cause
gosh.
I had gotten it right after she had passed away.
Oh, because you are truly like, as far as like commitment to helping others bring out their best and their beauty. We were talking upstairs. I had this dawning realization, memory that when I stepped down from Miss Ohio America, my drag mother national holiday was competing, and so I needed a dresser who could do magic, and Maria was that dresser. So I hired Maria to be my dresser for my step down, and it was the first. You made me feel so beautiful. And that year, the reigning Miss Gay America was Asia O'Hara. Talk about a nice,
I
just
love
the
Asia.
sweetest.
Now, okay, so point in case, she is generally just a nice
She's the sweetest human.
person. She's just very a more mainstream giver. She just likes to help people. She's back in the back dressing room, helping people with their hair, pinning with their costumes. And this is Asia O'Hara, who's won everything in the drag scene. You know, and she's just that type of person. She is that bitch in the back, zipping at people, helping people.
Absolutely.
Da 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 da.
So-
So she's very that.
So when you were dressing me, one of the things that I think Asia took the most, and it's just truly, it's one of Maria's skills, it's one of the things you do, is do you want to describe the bin of hair I brought to that weekend of Miss Gay Ohio America? Because...
Oh my god. Okay, first off, what is it?
I understand how you feel.
First off, let me just start by saying, Amanda brought me these wigs that literally look like they've been at the bottom of her car for a good 6 months. And I don't know if anybody in here has done drag, been around drag queens. If you set your hair and let it sit in the hot sun for 6 months, it's a pancake when you get it out, right?
McGriddle.
So I get these wigs, and she's in here, and she kind of does it. This is what this bitch does to me. She goes, "Oh, here, Maria, here's the wigs. I gotta go. I'll be right back." And that's what she does. She dips on me, leaves me because she knows these wigs are hot shitty mouth. And I'm like, I pull them out, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, and Asia starts laughing. She goes, "If you could do anything with that, I'm gonna give you some points." So I said,
Yeah, Maria
okay.
won the pageant that year.
So I said, okay, challenge accepted. So I don't know how I did that, but I did kind of put my foot in that hair.
Oh, she made me so, like, into the, like, in those Ohio America ashtrays, like, to do bumps and pins and, like,
Yes.
you turned it out. You did such a good job. Asia O'Hara literally tried to hire you for her step down.
She did.
And she deemed you the name the hair witch at that moment.
She did. And then some girl later on,
Venus Sinclair,
who's
the
amazing.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She does hair witchery.
She's so amazing.
Yeah.
Like I've seen her like actually in action down in Dallas. Because she does the wigs like right out in the open. Like
absolutely.
she's just so confident, and it's really
And she's
amazing to watch her.
an activist too.
She's very, very good. I just love to watch her. Her and there's several of them that are very amazing. Coco obviously is my favorite.
Yeah.
And who I think is like the top tier would be her, and then Selena. I can't even try to begin to pronounce her last name. I know I'd fuck it up.
I don't know.
She's Selena's. She's a beautiful Hawaiian lady. She's from Hawaii. Was Coco's inspiration. That's kind of who Coco showed Coco how to do like all the big stuff and all that. So
what's the one trick or thing that you think queens do to their hair that they need to stop doing? Like, what's the thing that they've got to stop doing to their wigs?
not brushing them. Like I feel like a lot of easy things to fix hair, and I know not a lot of people are good with hair, because obviously that's what I do, and I've been doing it for, I don't know, I've just always been good with hair, even you know, but I don't know. So
Because
not
outside of
everybody is good with hair. So not everybody, you can't expect everybody to be good with it. But at least everybody knows how to brush their hair.
Absolutely.
So, and I just feel like sometimes, like, I see girls that don't know how to do the hair and they like let the hair go on beyond the life of expectancy of the hair, and it's kind of like taking on a different style now because it's like they've pinned it so much only so often, and now it's like become a different wig because they just don't know how to deal with it. I think that's kind of funny.
Now you've done hair and you've done drag hair and stuff. So what's one hair trend that you hope never comes back? What's something that you hope just never ever we have to see again?
You know what? To be honest, I want to say the mullet.
Oh, really?
I like some mullets. I like the more modern mullets.
Like the shaggy kind
like
of.
the shaggier mullets. I don't like the traditional,
The shaved.
you know, like shaved mullet look. I just think it looks very
silly. Yeah.
But that's just me.
Very, very ridiculous.
Yeah. But other than that, I love all the other hairstyles. I think they're all in trend. I think they're so out of trend, they're back in trend.
Everything. And do you ever, because Samantha was telling me about this one time, because when Lady Gaga came out, you know, she was doing that harsh, you know, with the things. Samantha pulled out one of those wigs, and I was like, oh my God, you bought a brand new Lady Gaga wig. She's like, I had this from the 80s, I'll have you know. This is just an old wig that has now come full circle again. So do you ever have pieces like that where you're like, oh my God, that's what everyone's doing? Hold on, I've got like 20 of those in the...
You know, well, nowadays the girls get all them sculpted wigs.
Yes.
And I just am not that type of girl.
You do on.
I like to put it on my head. I like to see how it looks. I like to move it around. I like to pin and pull and tease and spray. And I don't know. I guess that to me is part of the whole thing of still getting in drag. You know, is the whole fun of doing your hair, making sure it looks good, and
it's
you know,
integral to your performances, though. Like you hairography.
I don't know. I guess over the years, my hair has evolved and changed a lot. You know, back in the day, I was just still learning. You know, and that's why I always tried to help people, because I wanted to learn and master it for myself. So I always tried to help other people, so that way when I went to do it, you know.
It would be right.
Correct.
But I remember like you speak of some of these talents, and you were one of those queens who, when she does like a kick or something, she's laying out and the hair is moving in the line with it. Like that feels very intentional with like some of your talents and stuff. That you're like, oh, I'm gonna have this slicked.
You know, that wasn't intentional. That was just something that just happened.
It's so beautiful though.
Yeah, it's just something like hairography that I guess that just went with the moment. You know, I never really. And you know, the truth be told, I really never was a dancer. I just always went out there and did what my heart told me to do. And I that's really who I am. I never really choreographed anything. Now, obviously talent, yes, but like my day-to-day performances, I just wung it. That's just who I was. You had to live in the moment. I just felt the music and the energy and the people and, you know, and the cheering and, you know, no, I was a gymnast, you know, so I obviously could tumble and stuff like that and do, you know, the splits and stuff. So that obviously I knew how to do, but as far as the dancing, I just had to kind of watch, like, you know, the people who I thought were amazing at it, you know, like Cheryl Brooks and, you know, the Angelica Sanchez and, you know, Tamisha Iman.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes,
I love Tamisha Iman. Oh my gosh, she was so amazing.
Tamisha Iman is coming.
Oh, and even when she was younger, she was the shit. Like, Tamisha was the shit.
The one.
Like, she was the one to watch. And then Shay Larise and people like that, those were the people back in the day that when I first went to Miss USA, those were the people that I seen, and I thought, wow, those are like, you know, yeah, because there's just there's who I wanted to be, I guess.
Just have to readjust my cooch.
Readjust your cooch.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, it's writing. So you have a slew of titles here. I literally can't go through all of them. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna start at the top of this list and work my way down. Third alternate Miss Gay USA at Large 2015. Miss Gay Ohio Valley USA at Large 2015. Miss Mask 2014. Second alternate to Miss Gay USA Class of 2014. Miss Gay Ohio USA Class of 2014. Second alternate to Miss Gay USA at Large 2012. Miss Gay Ohio USA at Large 2012. Miss Gay Capital City USA at Large 2012. Miss Ohio Gay Pride 2008. Miss Showgirl Gay Pride 2007. Miss Bounce 2005. Miss Axis 2004. Miss Gay North USA 2020 or 2002. Miss Celebrity 2002. Miss Ohio Continental 2001. Miss Gay Ohio USA 1998. And Miss Gay Columbus America 1998. And Miss Glass City 1998. There are a couple dozen missing, right?
Yes, I was Miss Tennessee.
You're Miss Tennessee?
I was Miss Tennessee Continental when I went back to go to Continental.
That's fierce.
Because the first year I had done Ohio Continental, there was a situation at my benefit the year before, and I got, our house got robbed by a couple gay bashers, and they tried to take my purse with my money, and I jumped on this guy, like, I don't know, I guess he's a big guy, and I didn't think, I just thought, okay, this motherfucker's got my money, so without thinking, knife, gun, whatever, I didn't think, I just jumped on his back and started punching him in his head, and then I got my bag back, but by the time we had got down to the end of the stairs, I had broken my ankle. I mean, my leg was literally swelled up like a football, like automatically. And then, so the only thing I could do, is sit on my back and use my legs to protect myself because I couldn't stand up because my leg was broke. And so the other guy come flying down the stairs, he took out, he had this like sock full of glass rocks. And this is a true story. He swung and hit me in my head. Well, when, obviously anytime you get a head wound, you bleed really bad. So I couldn't see. It was just a horrible thing. So that's what happened the year before. So I couldn't go to Continental because my leg was broke. So I was that was my benefit to go to Miss Continental. And I had raised like $5,000, which back in the day, that was really good. And so I had done that, and and then I couldn't go. And so that was why I went back to Tennessee, and I went there, and I had re-qualified to go back to Continental, so.
What pageant experience was your favorite to do? Like, as far as, like, the actual, like, going to nationals and representing Ohio, like, what one was your favorite experience?
Well, I have to say, for me, I have to say USA is my favorite.
Okay.
I feel like I still, in my heart, want to be, like, Miss USA at some point. So I would say Miss USA. It was my best experience. I love it. I feel like it's just my style. And it's just the people that I don't know. It's just, I like that stuff.
It celebrates the kind of stuff that you do really, really well. Now, of the bar titles, though, like, what bar title, like, I want to ask you about.
Although I had the best time at Continental the year I did it. It was so amazing. It was so much fun. It goes so smooth. Everything is like, and I feel like they make everybody feel equal to one another. It's just like, that's what I love about USA. It's just everybody's the same. They don't care who you are. You can be a star if you plan and you do the right gown, the right interview, and the right talent. You're gonna win.
You'll be the winner.
It doesn't matter who you are.
As far as bar titles and stuff, I want to ask about what your favorite bar title you represented was. Like, what bar treated you the best? And I know you might not say this, but I also want to ask you about Miss Mask and being Miss Mask, because that's a place that means a lot to me.
I would have to say. Oh wow! I mean, I'm still the current ranking Miss District West. And I feel like they're really good to me.
Oh my gosh, yes,
that's
right.
That's
one of
the
here.
That's one of the ones that I actually because right at that time I had found out that I had cancer, and I felt like I couldn't do the pageant because I had literally just found out, and it just a slew of emotions. I was going on vacation, and I was gone for a week and a half, and did I have time to prepare? And I'm the type of girl that if I like to prepare, if I don't prepare, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you would be ready.
Because I don't want to be ready. Because if I lose, at least I know that I did my absolute best.
Yeah, you did
And
everything.
I put my best foot forward. And if I don't win, that's okay. That just means somebody else was a little bit more prepared, and that's okay. But at least I can know for myself that I did my absolute best, and that's okay. And if I do my best, I'm okay with that. And if I don't win, I'm okay.
So before we go, you were talking about District West, so we'll get into a little bit more with the final question, thanks. But you do the production shows and stuff. You're a production show girly. You've done.
Oh, I love the production shows.
Which one of the production shows has been your favorite? Like, what do you like doing? Are you a stadium girl?
I actually am an all kind of production show girl. I like all of them. I like the fact that it brings out, as an entertainer, it brings out something different in you every time. You have to do a different character, and I don't know if anybody knows me, I like to do like the pretty drag. I never did comedy back in the day. I never did like to black out my teeth or do anything like that. I just thought that was not my style, but I found it actually a lot of fun to do that kind of stuff, to be comedy and to enjoy people laughing a little bit at your expense, and I think that's a lot of fun. I guess that's the difference in my drag now since the back then.
Well, and it gives you more layers and levels, because like when you can make someone laugh and then you do the talented things you do, like the kicks, that people are like, ah!
Yes, and I think that's what the big shows do for me, is that, but again, it's the process that I love.
Yeah.
It's the getting together with your friends and rehearsing, and you see everybody just laughing and telling jokes and getting to know each other, and that's what I love. I just love seeing the younger people and how inspired they are and how much they've elevated what, this crazy road that, you were on, like called drag, and it's so good to see the younger generation elevate everything and make everything different, and how different everything is, and I can rest easy knowing that, it's evolving, and Columbus drag is thriving, and it's just amazing. I'm glad to have been a part of it. I think it's great.
I love that. And with that, we will be back with our final couple questions for my special guest, Maria Garrison.
Dun, dun.
Just give me a theme song. I love it. Okay, and we are back with our final set of questions for Maria. Now, before we get into the final 10, I actually texted, I was hoping that I could get Andrea to come down, but she was saying she wasn't feeling very well.
No, she's not. She's not. She's a little under the weather.
So I wasn't able to get her down here, but I did get a message from a very good friend of ours, Hope Sexton.
Oh my God, I love Hope.
And Hope was very excited when she found out that I was interviewing. She thought I was interviewing you for a job, thob, at first. She's like, what are you interviewing Maria for? What does she need? Yeah, she was like, what are you interviewing her for? I was like, welcome to Perkins. So I asked her, if is there anything specific I should ask you about? And she said, ask her about making weight for US of A at large. The preliminary.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Oh!
Dun, 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 dun. Now, I will tell you a funny story about me and Hope, though.
Is it the salt?
Yes.
Okay, please do.
This bitch, okay, let me tell you what this bitch said to me. And she got me good, because me and Hope are really good friends. And we were at Miss USA, because I went to go dress her. And we were at the restaurant, the black olive, the black pea, or I can't remember what it's, sweet pea, or I can't remember what it's called. But it's right across the street from the Roundup. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we were over there having lunch, and Hope said, look over there, Maria. And I turned around, and she went, wham! Hit me right upside my head. I was like, oh, you fucking cunt. Like, that hurt. And we were cackling. Of course, we were probably drunk at the time. And so I said, oh, look at this bitch.
Because Hope was competing.
So Hope is competing, right? So she goes to the bathroom. I take the salt.
Right in her Coke.
Give her a whippoorwill. She comes back. And at first she was like, "Ooh, that's a little strong." And I was like, "Oh yeah, mine too. It's okay." So the next day we go to try to get her in her gown, and it would not fit because the salt made her gain water weight overnight, and I didn't realize that. She couldn't. I totally sabotaged her, not doing it on purpose, but doing it So yeah, that's a true story.
Salted her drinks and made the bitch
Sure
float.
did. I sure did.
And you do it again. Watch your
And I
back.
sure do it again. You want me to tell you another funny story? Is
Please.
that when I was in high school, I took in of course I made the cheerleading squad, of course, because I was fierce. And the cheerleaders were mean to me because, of course, I was the only little gay boy in this whole town of rednecks, right? And of course, half of them were fucking, heifers, and they couldn't even touch their toes. So they were mad at me because I could, and I could jump around, backflip, do all that, and they couldn't do any of that, so they hated me, right? So I said, I'm gonna get these bitches, right? So I said, Mom, what can I do? And of course, my mom was a shady bitch. So she goes, I got you, honey. She goes, now when you go to school tomorrow, you make sure you eat these cookies and not the other ones. That's okay, Mom. So she gave me my cookies before we left the house. And she gave me the other cookies to give to all the other girls. I said, okay. Girl, them bitches were shitting for 2 weeks.
Oh my
We put
God.
X-Lax cookies on these cheerleaders because they were so mean to me. And they were like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. I'm like, I feel fine. I don't know about you, but that was a little, and they still don't know that I did that.
They do now. Okay, so we have 10 final questions I ask every guest.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question, this is in lieu in honor of our Inside the Actor Studio.
Okay.
So the first question is, Hope.
Or just like wrap it. Do I have to like wrap it?
No. It's very your own speed. Okay. What is your favorite word?
Fuck.
Fuck. That's a good word. It's a
Yes.
good word. Yeah, that's a good word. What makes you laugh?
I don't know. I find a lot of stuff humorous. I find, older people getting out of the car and they're holding hands with their other someone. It just kind of makes me happy inside, And then, are we talking about like comedies like rom-coms?
Oh, anything. Just like.
Like babies make me laugh. Like I think
Yeah.
when they laugh, it makes me laugh because they're just so happy and it's so funny. I love that. And who can resist a baby giggle, right? Everybody loves
Everyone loves
babies,
a
right?
baby.
So that makes me laugh. Believe it or not, Andrea makes me laugh. Like she's very funny.
Very funny.
She's not just when you see her in action. That's how she is 24/7. Like it's full blast all day, every day, high speed.
The OG dirty.
Oh yeah, like let me jump from 0 to 60. It's full blast every day. That's just when you see her. That's just who she is as a person. And she makes me laugh all the time.
What makes you cry?
I think, it takes a lot to make me cry. Talking about my mother makes me cry, obviously, because I lost my mother. People being rude and mean to people, I think, and I have to say this, and this is why. Because when I was back in the day, I was young, I was beautiful, I had all my hair, I had all my teeth, and I just thought I was the shit, right? And I made fun of people that were lesser than me. And hear me out. And hearing the life lesson that everything comes full circle.
Absolutely.
So when you make fun of people, it comes back and bites you in the ass. And it has gotten me too. Karma's gotten me together.
Absolutely. No,
I made fun of people because they had no hair, and now I'm balding. I made fun of people because they didn't have any teeth, and I have some of my teeth missing.
Yeah.
I made fun of people because they were overweight, and here I am, 100 pounds heavier. I made fun of people, and it just, and I guess I didn't do it maliciously, but nonetheless I still did it, and it made people feel some type of way, and I regret that now. That's what makes me sad about myself, is because I made other people really feel bad about themselves, and I honestly was just doing it in the moment to make people laugh, and I didn't realize that, I might have made people feel bad about themselves, or, and now as an adult, and I look back, and I thought, man, I could have been a nicer person, and that's why I try to be different now, and read people anymore.
No.
I don't get on the microphone, and you'll never hear me like make fun of somebody else, or I just don't. I'm a different person now, and I think I always tell people, you know, don't hate me or don't love me for how did I put that. Don't judge me for the person I used to be, but love me for the person I am today.
Absolutely.
Because I was a shithead back in the day, and I admit that now, but I can't go back.
No.
I can't rewind. I can't, even though I wish I could, but I can't, you know, and I just take it up as life lessons, and I think that, you know, now I feel like this was the way of, if you will, if you're a spiritual person, you know, this is the way of, you know, for whoever the higher power to tell me, you know, basically my life lesson, you know, now it's a life lesson learned now this is why it's not nice to do this to people.
I love all of that, and I think, you know, as culture we've changed. Like as a hostess, the way
Absolutely.
you hosted back in the day,
Well,
you
you
just
can't.
wouldn't do it.
I could never, because I said the worst shit. I would have been canceled like the first night.
But we just didn't, and you even look at like comedians.
I was
the
so
things they were
mean.
saying,
I
it was
would
awful.
I would say mean shit and not think, and again, I didn't do it maliciously,
No.
but I still did it nonetheless, and people still felt a type of way. But again, I was young, I didn't care, and I was ADD, so half the time I didn't remember half the shit I said, right?
But you're
I just
also-
said it in fun.
You're so graceful to like take this moment to say that, and I appreciate you taking that to like say.
Yeah,
say
I
that.
mean,
It's
well, I think it
really
just takes it, you know, as you evolve as people and as adults, you know, you look back and say, well, maybe I could have been a nicer person, but, you know, so I have my faults too,
Absolutely.
you know.
I feel it. I'm saying. Question number 4 is, what is your favorite place in Ohio? What is your favorite place in Ohio? Hi, come on in. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Like, to go, or?
Anything. Just what's your favorite? Like, where's your favorite place in Ohio?
I would say there's a little place on the lake front where me and my dad used to go fishing. And I sometimes, when I go back to my mom's, where it used to be our property, and I kind of sit there and kind of reminisce and just kind of look out into the lake and, you know, and think about, you know, things that we did when we were kids. So I would say that's my favorite place.
I love that. Who is your favorite local artist? It could be drag, otherwise, singer, dancer, whatever.
Oh, I mean, that's really good, because I feel like Columbus is
So many.
packed full of talent. And, you know, even if it sounds kind of cliche to what I said earlier, I would have to say I kind of like watching Nina do her thing. You know, I like her performing, like, you know, I don't entertain her. I think she's amazing. Like, when she has her great ideas, and like, she just does this like wild shit, like where she did the winged monkeys and
Yeah, I mean,
and for Halloween and shit. She just has the greatest ideas. So I would say, like, watching, like, performance-wise, I would like to say her in Virginia. I would like to watch. I would say I'd like to watch her in Virginia.
well, like, Marianne came up with a concept for, like, these production shows in a lot of ways.
Correct. She's the one that kind of set the bar for everybody. And then Nina and Virginia started doing it.
Yeah.
And then they kind of elevated it.
Virginia
and now
Virginia streamlined it, and Nina perfected it.
She
Nina
did.
made it.
She
the
did.
thing.
She did.
Like,
Now she did her thing. Like
Because-
and I think that what's so great about it is that she just has these like great ideas.
she's
like
brilliant.
yeah, I would have to say it that way.
Good
But
people.
yeah.
But like even like the branding and stuff. It's like, girl, how you got to be like the NASCAR
Yes,
of
her
Columbus.
and Virginia, like their performances,
Incredible.
like stuff like when they do the big productions and like the performances. Those I have to say that those
Yeah.
two are my favorite.
I love it. So this next question, what is the breakfast of champions? Meaning, if you could have anything, like when you wake up, what's the first thing you're like, oh, I want to put that in my, what's that? I want that.
A sausage biscuit.
Sausage biscuit?
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is I love that you're a very traditional. Dina Cass said, I need a Diet Mountain Dew, Mary.
Well, mine is a Coke Zero. I
Oh,
need a
it's
Coke Zero and a sausage biscuit.
A sausage biscuit, I love that. I love a sausage biscuit. If you won a Lifetime Achievement Award, what would you like it to be in?
I would say helping others. Yeah, I like to do that.
Maria Garrison, here's the award for helping others. Can you give us your acceptance speech?
No, because I'd have to write it out, bitch. You don't put me on the spot. I'm not fucking Halle Berry, bitch. I have to write that shit out.
I'm not Halle Berry.
I mean, we're fucking this ain't acting school, bitch. You didn't put, and listen to what they do on, what was that?
Inside the Enter Studio.
Yes, not that, but what's the other that they did, what's that little thing we acted out and they made like a little mini movie? Oh shit, what was it called?
I have no idea.
Mickey Rooney was in it.
The Wrestler?
The Wrestler. That's it. That was one of, I'm telling you, that was one of, actually, it's very cliche, but that's one of Nina's little things, that she did The Wrestler. And I was the wrestler, I started as the wrestler.
Okay, I'm gonna hold up my hands for this one. Describe the rest of your life in 9 words. I'm gonna hold up 9 fingers so you can know where you're at.
Okay. My life in 9 words.
The rest of your life in 9 words.
The rest of my life, or?
Yeah, the rest of your life.
Okay, work, home, chill, vacation, work, drag, and vacation.
And vacation.
And vacation. I mean, that's all I do. That's all I do.
That's all she did.
That's all I do.
Never did?
Oh, there's always time for dick.
That's vacation.
We didn't.
Yes, that's you mix that in with the vacation and shit. That's where it gets fun, right?
I have one final question, but we didn't even talk about the fact that when there was a time in your life where you were a stripper. We didn't even talk, I think I have to have you back just to talk about your times as a male dancer.
Oh, that's way too old.
Yes.
Oh.
I used to, I used to paint my toenails. And just because I was just that gay boy, and, I don't know. I actually started stripping before I was a drag queen.
You were one of those, you and Helen Bett also was a stripper before she was a drag queen.
Yeah, but did she really? I mean, so, there was that. But Helen, yes, Helen did strip back in the day.
But well, I mean.
That's how we originally met, me and Helen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Brad.
Well, there's another thing
He was this hairy, kind of thicker, kind of very outlandish, kind of very high voiced, kind of, like he looked like a lumberjack, but his voice was real high. That was very Helen.
Well, now, okay, so there's, and before we get to this.
And I love Helen, by the way.
Oh, well, she's here. She's here with us all the time. So, literally, she's in the room. She's in the room. Brad's in the room. Like, would it be terrible that the person who donated a kidney to her is in the room? So, she's with us. So I'll ask this final question, then I actually want to go into one final story, because it just kind of hit me, and but I don't want to disrupt the thing. Question 10 is that if an afterlife exists, what words would you like to hear upon entering that realm? Like, once you, if you pass on to something else and you exist, what do you like people to say to you?
What do I want them to say to me?
Yeah, like when if you enter the pearly gates, what would you want them to say when you enter the pearly gates, or whatever the afterlife is?
Introducing Her Majesty, Maria Garrison.
That's fierce.
I don't know. I don't know.
That would be fear. Introducing Her Majesty. Well, I was going to ask you before we cut out, because I mean, you don't have to talk about this. You're moving on. But there was one. You used to be a phone operator, correct? You used to be one of those girls. Do you want to talk about
a call girl?
A call girl?
Yes. We used to have the double ring. It used to see back in the day. We didn't have the cell phones and all that. Obviously, it was back before all that.
Yeah.
And we had the double ring, and we were the AAA she-mails.
My God!
In the Tacoma Dispatch. So our phone, there was 2 lines, and the one ring was our regular phone, and the double ring was our
the other phone.
The other phone. Okay, let me tell you a funny story. So when we had this list of the girls, you their size, their measurements, and all that, right? Well, anybody that knows Blossom, and this is God rest her soul. Excuse me. But Blossom was a thicker girl, so get to reading her. We would read all of her. You know, we'd be like, we got Amanda. She's 5'8", 132 pounds. You know, blah 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 blah. And we get down to Blossom, and you know, of course, Blossom is, you know, a stout 250 because she's a big bitch. So, and she'd always make her measurements like way exaggerated, like right.
110 pounds.
Yeah, 110 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyed, you know, 26-inch waist, 34-inch bust, 46 inches. She was like the bombshell, right? And when we would get down to her, read her profile, we would go, and then we have Kathy. She's 5'8". We'd start laughing when we had to read out her weight because it was like so like off the wall of what she was. And and look, and it's okay to be a girl, right?
It's the fancy.
Who
She was
cares?
Kathy.
But she was Kathy.
What was
She
she?
Kathy Ireland.
What
So
was your name? Were you telling
I was Cindy.
Cindy?
Mm.
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who. Hey, Cindy made a lot of money. I'm not
Cindy
gonna lie.
paid the bills.
Cindy, but because the other girls, their shit didn't work, and my shit worked. So of course the boys all loved me.
So the other question I have for you, and this is a great story to end on if you feel like sharing it. There's some story I remember, and it's one of the craziest things.
No. Tread lightly.
No. This one's fun. It's about poppers.
Okay, you can tell me that.
No. So
You can ask
don't you have a crazy story about almost like accidentally drinking poppers?
Oh my God.
It's like,
Okay, this is a funny story. So I had this guy come over, and this guy has a huge wiener. It was huge, right? And he was like kind of a regular that kind of come over and we kind of fucked around, whatever. And I told him, I was like, because any good old bottom girl knows that a good old popper gets you nice and relaxed, right? So I thought, okay, he's a little large, but this little popper first, and get it, So, of course, literally, right when I was laying on my back, and right when I fucking went to sniff those poppers, this motherfucker was. And of course I went, oh, and of course they poured right down the back of my throat. I couldn't fucking breathe. I literally, every time I would breathe up. I literally thought I was gonna die. It burned so bad. And I fucking, first of all, I cussed it. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, I'm like, he flies across the room. He's like, what? I'm like, I told you to fucking wait, and I literally thought I was gonna die. So after a good 25 minutes of breathing in and I'm surprised my heart didn't
you
explode.
still did the act?
I still did the act. A bitch had to, I had to finish. I was ready. I was ready, I was ready to go. I don't know where this started. I feel like we got way off topic.
No,
what was the question?
Well, I was asking you to tell that story, but we were talking about what they want to say to you in the afterlife, so I think that portion was done.
How did they get to the afterlife, and now we're talking about getting ramrodded with poppers? Oh, you want me to tell the popper story?
Yes!
Oh.
Oh my
I
God.
thought, there was a couple popper stories.
Oh, that's the only one I know.
Mm-hmm. The other one happened at the garage. And back then, you could smoke in the garage, right? And me and my friend Tinka were doing poppers because we were young fags, and that's what we did with poppers, right? So we were like dancing, and this guy was dancing really close to me. And back then, okay, so I have to say the one redeeming quality I have to say that I picked up in my good old town of Buckeye Lake is I'm a little bit of a redneck myself. So I usually just like start, so talk later, right? Yeah. So that's just what was me. I was me back in the day.
Oh, girl, I love it.
I just totally jumped off topic.
No, it was great.
Oh, hi,
Poppers.
Where are we at? Poppers.
Poppers, yeah. Poppers. Well, actually, we're at the end of our interview. I was going to ask if there's anything you want to promote, or I know you've got some Pride stuff that's going to be coming out.
Oh, I'll be all week at Pride at District West, of course.
Are you in Cavalcade?
I'm not in Cavalcade, although I will be attending because I love Alexis.
Yeah.
And,
Is she one of your daughters?
She is more my drag sister
Okay.
but she is part of all that.
Yeah,
our whole
okay.
family.
Oh, God, love it. Well, I want to take an opportunity and say thank you so very much for coming and having a conversation with me. It's an
I had so much fun.
discuss the incredible, legendary icon that you are. We're going to take a quick break to get a performance in and to clear the stage. But will y'all please make some noise for my incredible guest tonight, the legendary Maria Garrison! I will see you all very soon with more Confidential. Woo!